Welcome to Sam the Spiritist TV. I am Sam the Spiritist, 21 Divisions Voodoo Priestess of the Mysteries of Light. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok under the handle at Sam the Spiritist. You'll find the links to my social media in the description box below, as well as to my PayPal for energy exchange appreciation donations, and my website for spiritual work consultations, and from time to time, personal one-on-one shamanic journey and oracle card readings from your message to receive messages from your specific spirit guides. Today, we are receiving the collective message of the day from the Baron of the Cemetery, who I work with in my practice is synchronized with Saint Elijah, the prophet, or as many know him in the 21 divisions, San Elias. Your bottom of the deck card is going to be the main theme of the message. And this message, I really wanted to utilize a guidebook to help you understand this message. First, you can notice a few things from the card itself. I look and I read the card intuitively and the feeling of the card. If you can see, and then we'll talk about the guidebook. If you can see on this card, Mother of Dawn, she is in front of a large stone, right? In front of a large stone. And in a lot of places, a stone, like Stonehenge, they are parts of a portal. She's showing me that this is her part of a portal. And there's more stones for other deities and figures around her, but you're not going to see that in this card. Now, she opens a gateway between the living and the dead, more so the dead to the living. She communicates first in the death realm the populace's interests to the leaders of the death realm. She speaks essentially on behalf of the dead. She does not get to see. She judges with her heart, as you could see talisman in front of her heart here. She receives and feels energy from her heart and then makes her decision. Okay? She communicates information up to the other leaders of the realm as well. She communicates information from the dead up to the living. Okay, from the death realm to the living. She reminds us to communicate with our dead, to not forget our dead. She represents also the dead having the power to influence the living. Although she represents also beauty, agency, and compassion, she didn't get to really utilize these while she was in her mortal life. She was actually incarnate. She had a life, but she represents those of us who did not get to have a lot of choices in life, to make choices of our own, where others made decisions for us, and where we didn't really enjoy our life to the full capacity, or haven't enjoyed our life yet to the full capacity. She represents taking life into your own hands, okay? That you have many options and choices available to you if you choose to grab onto them, okay? For those of you who don't tend to make a lot of decisions for yourself, who tend to allow others to decide things for you, who don't want to make decisions because of how other people may feel, Mother of Dawn is a sign for you today in this message. This is a theme of the whole message, that you need to begin taking life into your own hands. You need to begin making decisions that benefit you and that make you happy, because she did not get to enjoy her mortal life. She now enjoys it in death, in service of the dead. But make sure that you're not wasting your life. That's her message. Don't allow your life to be wasted, your power to be wasted while you are alive, while you have the opportunity to walk this earth. Because she did not I'll read a little bit from your guidebook here to give you. In life, her beauty was used as a prize to be granted to others for their deeds and valor, irrespective of her own wishes. So she didn't get to choose who got her beauty, her compassion, and her rewards. A scale of valor and deeds decided that for her, and she just had to follow suit and give. Okay? In death, she is free of these constraints, and she chooses to exercise the agency that she was denied in life in the service of others. So if you do a lot of things, this is making me think of people who do jobs, who work 9 to 5s and aren't able to make decisions or speak up for themselves and just have to go with the flow as well. Some of you are meant to become business owners. Some of you are meant to start companies. Some of you have seen how things go wrong when you don't have a say and you aren't able to make a change because you, quote unquote, don't have the authority in the company. Okay? Some of you have gone through a cycle where you've been going through this with many different companies, or if not in a job, in your personal life, in many different situations, relationships, personal, friendships perhaps, where you have not spoken up and you've just kind of gone along with what your friends wanted just to try to fit in, right? Just to try to fit in, you've gone along with what your friends have wanted in personal friendships and in relationships, just to keep the relationship going and try to feel and have love and, not have to break up and start all over again. You may have just allowed things to happen to not ruffle feathers or, piss somebody off. Or if you're in a dangerous relationship, you may have just allowed things to happen because you figure that it's better than if you speak up and deal with the consequences of speaking up for yourself, standing up for yourself, defending yourself. She is saying no more. That has to end now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. It needed to end yesterday, last week, last month, last year. It is too much time past wasting your life, allowing other people to decide and put conditions on how you live your life. Because you have access to so much if you allow the portal to be open between your higher self and yourself. You are constantly blocking your higher self and the messages from your higher self as well to yourself for the sake of others. You're listening to others and allowing their influence too much in your decisions in life. Don't allow people to decide for you anymore. This is unacceptable. As made in the image of the gods, this is unacceptable. And she says this with love and compassion. This is unacceptable. So it's so funny because so many of the beings in this message are beings in the realm of the dead, which makes sense, being that the message is brought to you, channeled, brought to you, decided upon today from the Baron of the Cemetery, and he brought forward the Mother of the Dawn first to give you this theme of the message. He's very, very firm. Elias, very, very firm in his message. So this is not something that you can be interpreting to mean something else. This is very clear as your theme. Absolutely no more allowing people to decide things for you. If you're especially over the age of 18, which hopefully everybody is watching this, and especially if you're over the age of 21, no more time can pass. You were taught that other people had authority over you as a child. Yes, in order to try to help you grow, in order to teach you right from wrong, and in order to help you develop and be able to stand firmly on your own 2 feet. If whoever was in your life did not teach you those things, did not support you in that way, but rather wanted to control you, limit you, was jealous of you, envious of you, spiteful towards you, hateful towards you, abusive towards you, You cannot carry on their teachings. Those were not those were not the teachings that were supposed to be passed on. Okay, at least not the teachings that your elevated spirit guides had hoped for. So now you have to allow for the relationships that you may still have, that people are permitted to speak to you or make decisions for you in such a way that is limiting or negative, that is bringing you down, and instead of elevating you up in life, lifting you up, they need to fall away. You need to cut those cords. You need to then get back in touch with your spirit guides. After you have removed those people from your life, you will be able to hear your spirit guides clearly and receive the divine information from your spirit guides, as well as the supportive information that the benevolent ancestors and dearly departed in the death realm are trying to bring up to you, okay? But they need you to take that step first. They need you to remove those folks, those situations that are constraining you. Otherwise, the rest of the message, you might as well not listen to it if you're not willing to take this first step. Gracias, Misericordia. All right, so let's start with the supporting cards now. We talked about Mother of Dawn. Let's talk about the extended message here, playing off of that card. Starting with, Lilith. They give the words thief of life under her name, but I want to, and they portray her in a way that many would interpret like dark and like negative. The words they use are hunger, animalism, and instinct. And these are still relevant to the message that she can bring. But I want to really, really, for the sake of just a lot of misinformation out there about Lilith, she is not an evil entity. People, especially Christianity, demonized Lilith because she represents the divine feminine power, because she represents having authority over oneself. She represents doing what will satisfy you, what will satiate you. And Lilith, the sides of Lilith that people, the side of Lilith that people experience can feel very negative for somebody who is living a lie rather than living their truth. When Lilith is trying to get your attention and trying to be a supportive guide or figure in your life, and you keep ignoring the signs, the messages, she comes forward and she could get frustrated with people, especially those that are her children, when you live in somebody else's picture perfect. You're playing out somebody else's dream instead of yours. She will get very frustrated and she can become angry, but more so she brings out the anger that really is your shadow that will begin working against you and will start to make you feel negative and think something else is attacking you, but really it's your shadows and the things you really want that you have put on the back burner that are so called attacking you because you are ignoring your truth. She can represent your shadow side, the side that, and your shadow, when you repress your shadow, when you repress your truth, it can start to begin mentally deteriorating you and emotionally wearing you down, physically wearing you down, because it's trying to teach you something. It's trying to get you, again, like Mother of Dawn said, to live your life authentically, to stand in your power, to live life on your own terms, not to settle. Lilith is not the type of energy that settles, that wants you to settle for anything. They kicked her out of she was Adam's first wife, and she was basically like just demonized as she was, kicked out of the paradise and sent into basically, I forget what the word is, but basically just cast out and not allowed back in because she wanted what she wanted, and she wanted to not have to negotiate. She wanted to stand in her power, and she wasn't going to be allowed to do that. So she was like, fuck y'all, I'm out anyway. I don't want to be here. And that's the type of energy she's trying to get y'all to bring to your own life, because it's needed. It's not that you have to be disrespectful to others if you don't want to, but that's the type of energy she's trying to get you to absorb a little bit more of, is to stand in your own power, speak your truth, say what you mean what you say. Otherwise, don't say anything at all. Just be a passerby. Just be, neutral, and just stand there and let life pass you by and do nothing, and watch other people get ahead and watch other people get what they want in life. And you don't have a right to be salty then, because you had the free will choice, is what she's going to say to you. You don't have a right to be salty. Just stand there and, just watch people go by and watch other people get ahead, and don't complain. Don't complain. You have no right to complain when you choose to do nothing with your power, when you let people take your power away from you. That's the type of energy. She's like, you either do something with the power and use it to make your life everything that you want it to be and do good with all this power, or this power is going to turn against you. And it's not going to be pleasant, because you were given these gifts. God's granted you these gifts, and you do nothing but just throw it on the ground. Excuse me. I don't mean no disrespect. You just throw it, toss it aside, act like it's not there. Speak against it. Speak doubt into your life. Speak fear into your life. And what do you expect to get when you do that? Do you expect to get what you want when you're casting spells against yourself? When you allow other people's desires to take more importance over your own? And also hunger, animalism, instinct, hunger. Like the guidebook I know mentions on this card, like, are you certain that you're seeking and pursuing things in life that you really want? Or is it something you've just been told you should want? Something somebody once told you're supposed to seek to achieve, and you're on this path to seek to achieve, like all this stuff. But is it actually what you want? Or is it just what you think you want because somebody someday somewhere in your past told you that's what you're supposed to do? Have you actually sat down with yourself and your spirit guides, cleared your energy, removed all interference and all other people's energy out of your space, off of you? This is why I talk about spiritual work and I offer spiritual work services, because this is so important. Most people don't do this. And then you're clouded by all this shit from other people. It's not even your own, absorbing other people's energy all day, especially if you're an empath. And you're not making decisions. Most of humanity's not making decisions that they truly want to be making. They're just doing to survive, to get by, or to play the game that other people set up for them. And she's like, yo, have you actually sat down with just your own energy and tapped in with your higher self, your shadow, your inner child, and found out from all your pieces of yourself what you really want? And your spirit guides input is the only other input you really need. You don't need to know what your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, what they think. That doesn't matter. What do you think? What do you want? Because if you're not honest with yourself about what you want, you can't be authentic in a relationship with anybody else. And it's not going to work out in the long term if you're not authentic with yourself. First of all, that's the first relationship that matters. That's the only relationship that is going to dictate how all your other relationships play out. Because if you're not authentic with yourself first, how are you supposed to be authentic with your spouse? How are you supposed to have a trusting, loving, healthy relationship with any boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, long term, and make it last, if you're pretending that you love your life, if you're pretending that you're in your joy, that you're doing what you love, that you are living life on your own terms? If you're looking to somebody else for agreement and for their input and their, thought all the time in order to make a decision, that's not a healthy relationship. You need to be able to stand firm in your own decision, first and foremost, and then ask and listen to somebody else's, and then come to, understanding agreements and move forward if it makes sense. And if it doesn't, if it's not vibing, okay, that relationship's not for you. But Lilith coming up in your reading, and the fact that she came up on the Baron of the Cemeteries reading on his day, just goes to show she is not a demon. Like, he wouldn't bring her up if she was a negative entity, okay? And he's taught me over the years, she is not a demon. That's a lot of the stuff in the Bible that they talk about her is a lot of bullshit. She was a shadow aspect that needed to be calmed down, yes, but she needed to be listened to in order to calm down. She needed to be heard. She needed to be understood by mankind. And she brought a lesson. She brings lessons, but a lot of mankind doesn't want to accept her lesson. And those who don't want to accept her lesson are going to continue to deal with struggle, with, anxiety, with, depression and negative thoughts and negative energy feelings of, you feel like you're psychic attacked. And if you do a reading with somebody and they're not seeing psychic attacks or spiritual work against you, witchcraft against you from the outside, from somebody else, it's yourself against you, working against you. And that's work that you'll have to do in order to move forward. Work you'll have to be willing to do, because no matter how many spiritual baths you take, how many candle works you may do, clearing and all that, if you aren't really truly honest with yourself, you're going to keep creating your own blockages. If you aren't taking the actions your soul, is meant to take, and your higher self is wanting you to take, your shadow is wanting you to take, your inner child needs you to take, you're going to just keep hexing yourself and needing more and more work. So that's the lesson she brings. Make sure that you're going after what you really want in life. And don't let anybody, including yourself, steal your energy and your life from you. It is, like Mother Adele said, it is up to you. This life is what you make of it. Gracias, Misericordia. All right, going to the next card after Lilith is the Leper King. The Leper King. And a leper, for those who don't know what a leper is, a leper was somebody in life who had a disease caused by bacteria that basically caused like these infections all throughout their skin, their respiratory tract, their eyes and stuff. And they were basically outcasts of society. They lived a very painful and very socially limited life, which was very lonely and dealt with a lot of depression and suffering and just like negative circumstances of having this disease because other people didn't want to be around them or were scared of them and feared them. So the one thing that the Leper King really represents is through your suffering, maintaining faith. Maintaining faith in life and in death. He's an example of faith in spite of circumstances and suffering. For his faith, he was rewarded with the role of sword of law, a warrior against evil and deceit in Sheol. The Leper King provides a model of self-discipline and tenacity, reminding us to hold fast to our faith and core ideals, even in the depths of the fire. You can see here all this chaotic fury type energy around him, right? But he holds a lantern. He still holds on to his light amidst this dark energy that he feels. And you have to hold on to your light. He goes up, he's a warrior, right? For the light. Against all negative influences, against all that which seeks to destroy him or seeks to go against him, seeks to try to dissuade him from his faith, he still holds on to his light. He still defends his beliefs. He stands up for what he believes in. Bravery and self-discipline and faith are the key words on the card. He has a suit of armor in the afterlife, whereas in life, a leper would be covered by, all these skin irritations and very red, sometimes boily-like looking pustules and bacterial infections all over their body, right? Rashes and just like open wounds and stuff all over their body. But in death, he has this suit of armor and this sword and this light that he carries, right? He's saying to you, especially with the other cards, as a supporting card for the main theme for the Mother of Dawn here, and with Lilith, he is expanding on the message here. He's showing you that through your suffering in life, yeah, in death you'll be rewarded, but also your faith in life is what could actually reward you in life, not just in death. If you have more faith in life, if you're not a leper and you're not dealing with disease, maybe you're dealing with other physical issues, but if you have abilities and a means in life to do something, and you have faith and you take action, and just on that leap of faith, you do what you want to do, you're going to be rewarded in life. You don't have to wait until death. You don't have to suffer through life. You have opportunities, abilities that you're not using in life right now that you're sleeping on. But you need to be brave enough, disciplined enough, and faithful enough to act upon them. Amidst all the chaotic energy, the worries, the fears, the anxieties, the doubts, all of this, you have to have the ability to slice through it with a sword. Like, you have to imagine slicing through it as a God, as a man made in God's image. You have the powers that many of these gods have, and one of the main powers is the power of vision. And vision, you can visualize a sword. Visualization is one of the most powerful things that you could utilize, even if you don't have, the ability to use your arms, your legs, even to talk or even to hear. If you have the power to visualize in your mind, even if you can't even see in the physical world, but if you can visualize in your mind a sword cutting through all this bullshit, cutting through all these worries, doubts, fears, limiting beliefs, you harness bravery, a mustard seed of faith, a mustard seed of bravery, a mustard seed of discipline can start the momentum that you need to start acting upon the things that you were put here to do. Why wait until death for your reward when you have the power now and you choose not to act on it? A lot of you say you have faith in the mysteries. A lot of you say you have, faith in your spirit guides. What about faith in yourself? That's a missing link. A lot of you don't believe enough in yourself. Who gets ahead in life are those who believe enough in themselves, in spite of what other people think, who take action, who are disciplined and focused on their goals in spite of how it makes other people feel or what other people think. And those people, they just have like blind faith in themselves. Some of them don't even necessarily have a spiritual practice or aren't religious. They know God exists, but they might not be as dedicated to a spiritual practice as you. They may not be as faithful to God or certain deities and mysteries as you, but they may be faithful into themselves. They may have more faith in themselves and their abilities than you. So look at that. Where are you imbalanced in your faith? Is it all just going to God and your spirits, and you are still sitting there and you just still negative self-talk, talking yourself down, allowing other people to steal your joy, allowing other people to tell you how to act and limiting what you putting all this garbage in your head? and lowering your faith and your confidence in your own abilities, that can't happen anymore. If you receive this message, like, it's going to be in your consciousness now. It's in your awareness. And your spirit guides know it's in your awareness that you've received this message. Your benevolent ancestors see that you now have this awareness from this message. So now your life and your spirit guides and your benevolent ancestors, your higher self now sees you have this awareness that others in your life, your spirit guides, your higher self, your shadow, your inner child may have been trying to bring to your awareness. But if you weren't paying attention, you're probably drawn to this message because you needed another channel with a voice to bring it to you. And that'd be me. So now it's in your consciousness, and now you can't deny it. Now you can't say you don't know. So you need to start being brave, disciplined, and more faithful in yourself and in the power of your benevolent ancestors, the power of your spirit guides, but especially yourself. And in life, that life will work out for you, will work out well for you if you take action, if you believe in yourself, if you act upon what you want. But if you're just sitting there all day, casting doubt, casting negative spells out there upon yourself, speaking limiting beliefs, being a pessimist about life, you're going to end up having the same experience. And your shadow and even your higher self and your spirit guides are going to push you. And that push is going to, the more you ignore it, the more you'll tick them off. And the more you'll feel anxiety, you'll feel stress, you'll see yourself become sick because energy is not moving through your body the way it needs to because you're holding yourself back. So energy cannot flow through your chakras the way it's supposed to, so you can't be healthy. So eventually this leads to deterioration of your physical vessel, your mental health, the more you suppress. So like, heed the warning. You have choices. But if you don't take action, don't be upset with your spirit guides, your benevolent ancestors, and the universe, and life, and want to blame everybody else when you have the power. You've had the power all along. Many have the power. Everybody's given the same 24 hours in a day. Everybody has free will to act, to give attention to this or to that thing, to what everybody else wants, or to give attention to all the doubts and the fears, to give attention to what people think, and to care to the point that it's harmful to you, to the point that it's obsessive, it's depressive, to care what random people you don't even know will think, and people who aren't worthy of being in your life anyway, what they think. That's a choice. You have to consider that those are also free will choices. And a lot of these are generational curses you will have to break in order to really move forward. You've inherited curses from your ancestors, and they need to be broken. Do the work. Not doing the work is also a free will choice. It takes effort to live as a spirit that gets to walk on earth. It is a privilege. This is a school, but this is also a place that can be full of infinite amount of joy and happiness and prosperity for those who are willing to do the work, not just do what you're told and what you think and what society told you should be doing to get to the money, to get to success, to get to happiness. Fuck all that. What is going to make you happy? Do you even know? When you are brave enough to even ask yourself that, truly, not just in 2 seconds you have an answer because it's the one you've repeated over and over and you've been trained to come up with. That's not usually going to be the one. What is it that your soul craves? Be brave enough to find out and be honest enough with yourself. Most people are not. The ones who are really, 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 really successful are. They're very clear on what they like, what they don't like, what they want in life, what makes them happy, and they focus only on those things. They just don't have room. They understand that there is no room and no time to be wasted on all this other BS. And that's why they, quote unquote, get ahead. But really, you could be too. So it's your perception as well of others getting ahead and passing you by. That is a choice to allow. You could be looking at it as a lesson. What Lilith had to show you, you could be looking at it as a lesson and appreciate it. Or you could look at it as a curse and be salty about it, depressed and sad, and just keep passing the curse along. Or be brave enough to learn from that lesson, take the bull by its horns, and dominate your life. Carry the sword and cut all that bullshit out. Yield your sword when you see that bullshit coming and it sees your sword and it's like, I'm not going to mess with that one. I'm going to go to somebody else. That one already knows the game. That one's already playing the game and dominating the game and the victor in the game. Okay, he's the victor of that game. He already knows how to play and knows how to win now. But it took him to get to death to learn and to earn that. Because at least he still had faith in his life. He may not have done everything else that he was able or meant to do, but he kept his faith. But you're being shown from his lesson that you could be carrying the sword, holding the light, and wearing your armor in life. And being successful. But you have to choose to do that. Gracias, Misericordia. All right, we're getting into the next card now. After the Leper King, we have Anubis. And if you were thinking that Lilith was something you didn't want to deal with and feared her energy and the shadow energy and looking at your truths and having to be brave, the Leper King here, well, Anubis, you don't want to mess with Anubis. You don't want Anubis to come up in your reading. And now that he knows that you're seeing this reading, you definitely don't want to disregard this reading, this message. Because Anubis is the ultimate judge. At the end of every life, Anubis will be there. Okay? You don't want to get to the end of life and have to answer to Anubis why you didn't do what you were put on earth to do. Because you might be able to fool the other judges. You may be able to, some of the other judges, the 42 judges, are not as harsh or not as strict as Anubis. But he's like definitely not the one that you want to try to lie to or try to get one over on or want to tell a sob story to. Because he will not fall for it. He will absolutely not fall for it. And he also is neutral. So he's not going to be emotionally invested in how you feel or any of that. So he will not, like, your spirit guides will listen to that stuff. Like all your other spirit guides maybe have more, more compassion and be more, the ones who walked earth as a spirit may have, more compassion and give you more time and all that. That's why they're here to help you while you're alive. And why your ancestors are here to help you actually do what you're meant to do and learn these lessons while you're alive, so that you don't get to the gates and get to, your judgment and have to answer to all the judges and stand in front of Anubis and tell some bullshit story to try to, get mercy, get a misericordia. Like, This is not the time. The end of your life, your judgment day, is not the time to want to make a change and ask for forgiveness or to ask for another opportunity. You're gonna get reincarnated or your soul's gonna get destroyed. Like, there is no in between. Okay? And I wouldn't wait until the last day of your life, or until you're dead to want to live. Because it would be the worst thing. Like, one of the most disrespectful things is to go to your death and get on the other side and be like, oh, I wish I knew then what I know now that I'm over here. Well, your spirit guide was trying to tell you this whole time. He's going to say to you, or telepathically say to you, make you feel you had all these opportunities. We sent all these messengers. All you did was ignore them. What say you? What say you? All you did was make up bullshit, excuse after excuse. All you did was worry about this and that person and let them steal your joy, let them steal your power, let them have all of your good years in a whether it's a loveless marriage, a violent relationship, an abusive, household that you chose to stay living in, or an abusive relationship with parents and extended family who were no good to you, and you allowed them to just steal your life force and steal all your joy, and you allowed them to live their life and get away with, having their, version of joy, and you allowed them to have their peace, and you allowed them to have their prosperity because you allowed it. They got to have it because you allowed it. You chose to not have it. You allowed it to be given to them. And that is what he will judge you upon. Because if that's the truth, you won't be able to deny it. He will see right through it. And that's what he'll be judging you upon, is your honesty and your accountability. And if you deserve another opportunity to reincarnate and try again to learn these lessons. But you don't want to get to the end of your life and to the judgment day and not have done, wish you had done more in life. Like, that is not the way to go. There's a lot of spirits that are in tranquil, that don't even want to go to their judgment day, that are earthbound because they fear this day. They fear having to defend themselves or speak their truth in front of Anubis and the other judges, because they know that either they were shitty people and their soul may be destroyed, or they are afraid of having to go through situations in another life. They're not ready yet. And they're holding on to this life and holding on to certain things, in their most recent life. And they can't move forward. They don't want to move forward. Because they either were obsessed too much on certain things in this life, too attached to their most recent incarnation, and they didn't learn, they still aren't ready to accept that's that they had their chance, and they choose to stay even in the spirit in tranquility. You don't want to be in a tranquil spirit because you're so attached to your last lifetime and didn't do what you wanted to do in your last lifetime, and you don't even want to move forward. Like, you don't even want to face judgment, and you don't have enough understanding yet of the spiritual realm. Some people don't have enough understanding of the spirit and the soul, and that we incarnate in different lifetimes, so they're afraid. They don't even want to ascend, and become, realize that they can use their own power in spirit to help the living that they leave behind. And then they stay trapped as earthbound spirits, and then a lot of them in tranquil, a lot of them repeating a lot of the same cycles, and they don't want to go to their judgment and potentially be worthy, be judged worthy of another opportunity. Anubis has a scythe too in his hand. Like, he cuts through the bullshit. He slices all that shit away. He is not for that. He will weigh your heart against the feather as well. And if your heart is lighter than a feather, he usually deems you worthy of, being able to reincarnate into a new vessel in a new timeline on Earth, to learn lessons again, to continue the ascension process, as many of us have been doing, lifetime after lifetime. So, but your heart can only be light as a feather if you don't have a lot of grief, don't have a lot of depression, don't have a lot of regrets. It's not just about if you're an evil person or a good person. You can be a good person with a ton of regrets. You can be a good person with a ton of grief and a ton of stuff that you have not healed, you have not acted upon in life, which is why the whole theme of this message has been needing to act on that which you truly desire, truly want and feel is your passion and purpose in life. And if you don't know what that is, well, you better get to trying to figure that out. Readings can help with that, personal readings. That's why I offer them periodically when we get down to it. But if you're not willing to go there with yourself, whether through a reading or with your own divination and meditation, with your own honesty, then I don't see things going too hot for you should you fail to live your life well and eventually get to this day of judgment. Because Anubis requires honesty, and if you haven't learned that lesson of being honest with yourself, well, he's going to say, how can you be honest with him? And I wouldn't want to be in that position. Because he's neutral, like I said. And also the key word on here, obligation, neutrality, preservation. Obligation. He requires at least his children to fulfill their obligations. Those who serve him as one of their mysteries, Egyptian mysteries. And that's a very, very serious, very, very, very serious and strict deity to have and to be a child of and to devote to. I would not recommend picking up Anubis thinking that you get a little scared or you get a little stressed or worried or anxious working with him and that you're going to put him down. Once you commit, I would not want to be the person that thinks that they're going to turn their back on Anubis, because he is the preserver. He's associated with a mummification, Egyptian mummification, and death rites, should I say. So he's no joke. Like, he's not to be played with. Like, he can destroy your life if he wants to. He could take everything away from you. So I wouldn't fuck with Anubis like that. For anybody who's seeing this and going, oh, Anubis is one of my guides. I love Anubis. I want to work with Anubis, because there's always those people. If you were ready to work with Anubis, you wouldn't be in my comments. If you were meant to be working with Anubis, you wouldn't even be in my comments saying you want to work with Anubis. Either you are called and meant to, or you're not. You're just not in somebody's comments saying, oh, how do I work with him, this and that. If you were meant to, you already would be, and he would be teaching you, or you would have made a pilgrimage to where you need to go to devote and initiate under the mysteries of Anubis. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. But he is not for this dishonesty with yourself. It cannot happen any longer. He is aware now that you are aware of what he represents and what he is looking for. Those who have found this reading, he is like he's talking very slow. He was like, They know. They know, even if they act like they don't know that I'm watching them now and that I know who they are. I know, and I know everybody, and everybody will be judged on how they live, what they did with this gift of life. Did you use it and abuse it? Did you use it for abuse yourself and allow others to abuse you? Did you use it to abuse others? Did you use it to take advantage of other people, which is another form of abuse? Did you use it to only serve self and not help others with anything? Because that is also something that will be judged. Or did you do the opposite, and did you do evil upon this earth and serve self? You know, you could be a good person that only serves self and does nothing to help others, though. You know, is very selfish, self-serving, and gives no care really to society. Okay? And you could be an evil person who serves self and does bad things upon society with their own success. Everybody gets the opportunity and the free will. But all will be judged. And you could be the person who does right by others, does what they feel is right, does right by themselves first, and right by others who are worthy, okay? Who does good works on the earth and for the benefit of others who are worthy, and for the innocent, like animals, and for the planet. Which one do you choose to be? All will be judged, but which one are you going to be? That's what he's always going to look at, because those are pretty much the main categories of options. Or are you going to be that person that does nothing, like, with it at all, and just wastes it all away, casting doubt, fear, spells upon yourself every day, allowing life to pass you by, like we discussed earlier in the bottom of the deck? All will be judged. And he is ultimately the one who deems whether you get another chance, if you're worthy of another chance to reincarnate again, to pick up on some of the lessons that you didn't get before, that you didn't learn, complete, master before, and try again. It's a game. Life literally is a game. We're just different players, wearing different avatars and in different settings, with different characters in in the different themes, in the different lands, in the different levels of the game. When you look at life like that, it becomes a lot easier to navigate and to choose to change certain settings in your game, certain settings in your player, certain themes, to master certain levels in the game, because you recognize patterns, you recognize who's an NPC and who's actually another real player in your game. Because even though everybody has, most people walking the earth do have spirit, not all of them have, a soul, not all of them are real in the sense that you're real. Some of them are literally vessels for other entities from different planes to come into Earth, and you need to be able to identify when those are around you and when there's really somebody worthy around you. And when you're able to learn that and decipher that and discern that, you'll master the game of life and ascend faster. But while you keep going back and forth, being confused by energies, not having discernment, not being honest with yourself and with other people, and allowing yourself to absorb all this other energy of people, and not being honest with yourself, you make your life harder than it needs to be. Like, the energy is like, he's just saying, like, this is the longest card, I know, but like, he is really just making me feel like, tell them all the bullshit that they're doing, because I'm not having any of it. Call them out on all their bullshit. Make them realize how simple the life could be if they just realize the things that we realize, the things that we know. All these things were taught. All these teachings, ancients used to understand so much of what I'm saying. Ancient peoples used to understand so much about the energies, and they believed so much in what I am talking about here in this reading, about how your shadow, your higher self, inner child, all different aspects of oneself can affect your experience here on earth, let alone the energies of other people, and then considering the energies of negative entities and positive, angelic, and high frequency energies that are also able to influence you in this life experience. They understood all of this. But for some reason, in the last several hundred years, it's like everybody acts like all this is like made up bullshit and just wants to live their life based on this matrix that has literally been created to keep you limited. It's a necessary creation because some people in the past did get too self-serving and evil intending with their power and wanted to control the masses too much with their magic and put you all under a spell. But now you know that that's what's happened. So now you need to wake up and realize that you can break this spell, at least upon yourself, if not for everybody else in your family and in your life and in the world, at least for yourself. Your life experience doesn't have to be based with all these limitations that this society now has upon itself, has placed upon itself. Individuals who choose to break the spell for themselves and to stand in their power will be able to thrive. It's not your purpose. You can see what's wrong with everything else. If you're one who sees what's wrong with everything else, it's not your purpose to set everybody else free and to make everybody else understand. Everybody has to come to their own understanding. You're going to waste your time, is what he's saying, trying to make everybody else understand and take responsibility for everybody else and worry about everybody else and how they feel. Everybody else is here, just like you, to learn lessons. It's not for you to fix everybody else and to teach them those lessons. It's not your responsibility. Some lessons you will be teaching them without even realizing you're teaching them, but you cannot be overly focused on teaching people lessons, on waiting around for people to catch up with you, on pleasing people. Okay? You need, more than anything now, to focus on self-preservation. To be neutral with those energies around you. If they are supportive energies, great. Thank you. I appreciate you. And you talk with the supporting energies, or you communicate and interact with supporting energies when it is for your highest good. Not just because they want, your energy, not because they're an energy vampire. If it's not mutually beneficial, it's got to go. And for the people who are negative, who want your energy for their own, to manipulate your energy, to take advantage of your energy, no more. It is over. Self-preservation. Cut them off. Forget how they feel. They're not worthy of your energy. And if you're the negative energy, well, if you're the one who is taking advantage of other people, who doesn't respect other people's boundaries, who doesn't support other people in their endeavors, in their truth, who is insensitive, uncompassionate, well, Anubis has to tell you this. You reap what you sow. Your life Your karma accrues, regardless of if you believe it or not. And this life, every moment, from this moment forward, you will have on your consciousness the knowing that you will be judged for certain and by Anubis. And he will not accept your excuses. So you can choose with your free will to do better or to continue to repeat the patterns. The choice is and always has been yours. What say ye? Gracias, Misericordia. All right, moving on from Anubis, we have Morgan Le Fay. The Witch of Ages. Keywords here are atonement, growth, and deceit. Morgan Le Fay. I've heard some stories about Morgan Le Fay. I've read some stories about her life. And she's predicted in a pretty villainous manner in a lot of tales and a lot of shows that may have a character based off her, or a character that is supposed to be representing her. But what she really teaches is that there's still chances in life. There's still chances, even when you mess up. If you do wrong, if you do evil, if you wish bad or have bad wishes towards someone, and that's really not your character, but just situations have made you so upset, like such unfair situations may have made you so upset, may have been so unjust, and may have really hindered your own life, that there may have been justified reasons for you to have been wishing bad things, feeling, bad things towards people, because it was justified. And a lot of other people will say, especially those who base their religion around Christianity, will probably have said to you, oh, you shouldn't think that, or you shouldn't feel that. Oh, you should give forgiveness to them. Oh, you should just let it go. And these things just piss you off more. They make you even more in turmoil, more in chaos. And she kind of represents that chaos and that turmoil, and doing things that are justified, that people misinterpret. But if it's truly not your nature, and if it's hindered your own spiritual elevation to do those things, that there's an opportunity to even the scales back out for yourself. How do I say? It's like learning from not necessarily your mistakes, because I don't want to say it's a mistake for you to try to get justice for yourself if you've been, harmed, tricked, whatever the case may be, abused, spoken to sideways, whatever the case may be, unjustly. However, there's a choice to continue to do that, you know what I'm saying? Continue to respond in that manner. Or you could use your magic. Morgan Le Fay was actually very, very skilled in the magical arts. So although the book will tell you a little bit more different the meaning of this card, she's telling me that whatever your situation is, instead of using your words, instead of, getting into it or getting into an altercation, causing yourself more stress, more harm, more danger, whatever the case may be with other people who are unjust towards you, and instead of making yourself look, crazy to other people by handling it the way that most people would, by speaking your truth, sometimes it won't matter to say and do those things. It will just make the situation worse for you, right? It really will. Because a lot of people that may piss you off or may speak to you sideways, may have done you wrong, are probably narcissists, right? Or just evil people wishing bad, right? And wanting to mess your life up or wanting to see you down, right? So with those type of people, she's telling me, show me you using your magic. Because if you're into these readings and you're into, 21, or if you're into magic in general, then you're most likely open to the fact that you have your own magic that you could be using. Or if you don't want to, or don't know how to use your own magic, don't really want to learn or dabble with it, go to someone who can help you magically with the situation, because your life can change drastically through the spiritual realm, through the magical realm, rather than dealing with certain things in such a way that you become somebody you're not in order to handle injustice in your life. Or you delay, if you're doing things through a legal means with somebody who's really done you wrong in business or in your personal life, and you're taking it through a legal battle. Of course, you could do magic to make it work in your favor, but this is going to steal much time off your life as well. And time you can't get back. You can always make more money, right? You can always make money back if you spend money doing work or doing whatever. But you can't get your time back. You can't take years, months off your life by giving your energy and that time away to something and someone else, and then somehow just make it back. It doesn't work like that. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So she's reminding us that stand in your power again, like Lilith said, everybody was saying here, but stand in your power and use the magical arts are available to you, whether you use them yourself, right? Because she was called the Witch of Ages, all right? She was very, very skilled in the magical arts, but a lot of people demonized her for it because she used her magic and she did what was justified, okay? And that's why I don't do, unjustified work, but I definitely do justified work for that which it is necessary. For people who are just evil people, tricky, slimy, nasty people who are doing serious physical, mental, emotional, sexual, financial harm to my clients. And she was the same way. And for a long time, I personally thought like I shouldn't necessarily do that work, blah, 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 because there's some, branches in witchcraft that believe that what you do to others comes back to you times 3 if it's unjustified. That's the missing piece. If it is unjustified, it will come back to you times 3. If it is justified and you are doing, your spirit guides and God see that you are doing something that is justified to help someone who cannot help themselves, or who is constantly being worked on by somebody evil, because everybody gets free will. And when those who have the ability do nothing with their free will, especially in magic, with their magic to help cleanse and protect someone and return things back to someone, or if somebody is so dangerous and such a villain on this earth and is a danger not just to my client or to children especially, or to other women, or whatever the case may be, my loa, my spirit guides can see that. Okay, so I don't play by that book that like what you do to others comes back to you 3 times without the word unjustified in it. A lot of other witches will, but the witches like Morgan Le Fay took the justice they took justice into their own hands with their magic. If it was justified, they did what needed to be done to protect themselves, protect others who were innocent, because evil doesn't stop. Okay, evil doesn't stop when good people continue to let it continue on. Evil just continues destroying. Evil people have free will too. So if you say, I'm not going to do anything about it, I'm just going to pray on it. Okay, that's great. You can pray on it, but there's a bajillion other prayers out there that got to go up. Okay, and certain prayers are going to be heard faster, and you got to know who to pray to exactly in order to get it heard, because God delegates prayers to specific angels and other demigods. So if you don't know who you're supposed to be sending your prayer to for that specific thing that you need help with, you don't have a specific relationship with a certain deity or spirit guide that is an expert and master in that particular thing, and you don't work with somebody in this type of niche that does, in this field, in this work that does, know who to petition and who to send that request to grant you the outcome or grant you the favor that you're looking for. Well, it's going to take longer, way longer, because it's going to get lost in the noise because you didn't directed appropriately, and because you're one in millions, if not millions of people sending up prayers, certain people who serve spirit have a higher, what's the word? Have a higher, I'm looking for a word and I can't find it. Prioritization. There it is. Because we serve certain spirits regularly, and work with them closely, okay? On behalf of maybe our lineages and the collective. So when we are doing that on a regular basis, and we've been doing it for a long period of time, we have certain favor, right? That others, majority of the common folk, may not have, okay? We also have a larger level of protection, most of us have a larger level of protection, awareness of the need to cleanse and regular spiritual rituals that we do for ourselves to make sure that other things aren't getting in the way of our petitions, our prayers, getting to the recipient in a timely fashion, because things from earth must go up to the heavens, must get to beings in other dimensions, okay? If you don't know how to direct that, and if you are spiritually cloudy and unclear, and your energy is polluted, and you're not aware, and even if you are aware, if you are not maintaining spiritual purity of your energy, and not just the cleanliness, but the harmonization of your aura, of your chakras, so the energy can flow properly through you, out of you, to different realms to deliver these messages, you may end up with delay, okay, in your prayers. Also, like I said, not directing them where they actually need to go. So this is why taking magic into your own hands is being suggested. Taking magic into your own hands, or working with somebody who does, in order to address any situations in your life that are making you act out of order, out of character, so that you can be truly you in your highest form, no longer able to be manipulated, no longer being able to be dragged down, no longer to be depressed, no longer having to be a shapeshifter to appease everybody else, okay? You don't have to fear magic either. She doesn't want you to fear magic. Work with somebody, if you're going to do magic, only do justified magic, and work with somebody who does only justified and light magic, not somebody who works with a lot of dark energies. You would be able to, if you have a clear energy and a good intuition yourself, you'd be able to tell who is somebody who is working primarily in the light, but works justified when necessary, okay? Who works to cleanse, liberate, unhex, uncross, protect, and divine justice works. That stuff. Not people who are hexing and cursing people all day just for the hell of it. You work with those people and your life will get fucked up if you work with the latter, okay? If you work with people who are working with demonic entities who are doing a lot of cursing, hexing, dark magic, advertising that, you work with them and you want to have a nice life, a good life, a peaceful life. Oh, they're going to destroy that for you. So heed that warning. She does not represent dark demonic energy. She represents justified energy. She represents similar to what Lilith represents in allowing your shadow to learn from your shadow, allowing your shadow to receive the healing it needs. And the healing may be through magic, justified magic, so that you can actually move forward. So you don't have to keep giving energy to situations that are harming you. You don't have to keep dealing with toxic people, negative workplace. You can just have the magic working for you and spirit working on your behalf. And then you can move forward and not be worrying about it, not be dealing with all of this distraction and all of this just negative junk anymore. All right, after Morgan Le Fay, ooh, we have Abraham. And I look at that, justice again, truth and duty. It is your duty, justice of pandemonium. Look, he holds the scales of justice in his hands as well. This is all about justice. Somebody who is watching this, multiple people watching this, if this is not your sign with all these cards talking about the balancing of the scales so much, taking justice into your hands so much, I mean, this is going to be a clear sign. Okay. And being that this message is from the Baron is representative of curse and hex breaking a lot. So a lot of you may be dealing with curses and hexes that need to be broken, that have been inherited. And it's time for you to even the scales. Some people are dealing with like stuff that family is aware of that's just like been passed down and overlooked. People are aware of in your family that things have been passed down that are harmful, that have been done upon you or someone else in your family, and they've turned the other way and it's been unjust. Nobody was there. Some of you are dealing with that. Nobody listened to you. Nobody was there for you. Nobody was, took your side. Nobody stood up for you. Nobody defended you. And getting that divine justice. It is time. You can't have people like this in your life. You can't remain loyal to people who are not loyal to you. You do not owe anybody who's not been loyal to you, who's not been just and fair to you, your loyalty anymore. Justice, truth, and duty. It is your duty to set yourself free. It's not your duty to remain loyal to people who are not worthy of that loyalty, who have proven themselves unworthy and disloyal to you. And it is an insult, a slap in the face to your benevolent ancestors who want this curse and want these hexes, and your family in particular, I'm seeing, broken. Okay, the good ancestors who may have come generations before the ones who may have passed this and started this generational curse and passed this on. Those benevolent older ancestors are showing me that this is not something that they wanted. Okay, they did not want their descendants to have this experience. They worked too damn hard and suffered too much, some way, somehow, to get to the place where you were born, so that you could be having a better life experience than them. And if you're not having a better life experience than them, if you're struggling, well, you need to take justice on those who it's justified for, those who are deserving of it. Okay, because you'll never be able to settle, down in life and move forward in life and feel peace in life when you don't have justice. I'm not saying do anything dangerous that's going to hurt you or somebody else. What I am saying is, whether you take action through a physical realm, by speaking your truth, by doing a legal route, you know what I'm saying, or through the magical and spiritual realm, through spiritual workings, spell work, yourself or with somebody who's an expert in it, you won't have that peace until you address it. You can't ignore it. Can't act like it didn't happen. Telling yourself you're letting it go doesn't really do anything except piss you off. More, it pisses your shadow off. It pisses, and if your inner child, if you were abused or something, or an unjust things happened to you in your childhood, it just pisses and makes them more upset. And this is going back to talking about all the aspects of yourself from earlier in the reading. You need to consult with them and see what manner in which and consult with your higher self and your spirit guides, what manner makes the most sense to get your justice, so you'll be able to move forward in life. You can't have this chaos, this unfairness anymore in your life. Abraham don't look like he's taking shit from nobody. He looks like, you got two of these. If you know Anubis, most of the depictions of Anubis are of him and his scales, not in this deck, but in many of Anubis's depiction, he holds the scales of justice. Okay, so this is, if this isn't a sign, I don't know what is. I don't know. You shouldn't need any more readings or any other consultations with nobody to be able to tell that it's time, that there is no more time left. Especially, you got, where did we talk about the time? Oh, I mean, Anubis, you don't want to wait until the end of your life to then wish you had taken justice. You don't want to have regret and wish you had done things different and lived your life fully. Get your justice while you're alive. Live your life while you're alive. Other people shouldn't have to live their life, you know, who have done wrong against you or somebody you love. They shouldn't have to be able to have the privilege of living their life with peace and prosperity, even though they've done all this evil. And when good people let it happen, it's because you were made in God's image. You were given free will, right? And when you choose with your free will to let things flourish for them, irregardless of their bad behavior, okay? Irregardless of their destructive words, destructive energy, their carelessness, their hate. When you don't do anything, you stand for nothing. And that's on the collective too. Collective can bitch and complain about things back and forth on the internet about how they don't like how this is happening, how they don't like how this is happening in the world. And bitch and complain on the internet and their opinions in random people's TikTok video comments or random Instagram comments or YouTube comments. But what is that doing? What the fuck is that doing for anybody? To be bitching and complaining in the comments. Your ancestors took action. They went to marches. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got up off their ass. If they didn't like something and thought something was unjust or unfair, they got up off their ass and they did something about it. I'm not inciting violence, but I'm saying research what your ancestors did. Research what people did in the past when bad people started doing things to good people, unfair things. It's the same thing in your personal life. You do nothing, you stand for nothing. What are you showing your kids? You know, what are you demonstrating? You know, if you let people mistreat you, if you don't stand up for yourself and you got kids, what are you an example of? What are you teaching your kids? To be passive, to be a pushover, to allow themselves to be walked and stepped on and mistreated? And that's a generational curse you're passing down. You're either creating, if you haven't already inherited it from those before you, you're creating it. And then you're creating a curse and a hex. A hex will eventually turn into a curse enough passed down along the line, okay? And then that will be a generational curse that your descendants, generations from now, will be having to deal with. If we even last as a society, if the gods even allow this planet to continue with how much passiveness. I got a message earlier and I've been holding back about thinking about it, about saying it, but most of them are pissed off. Okay, most of them are pissed off at humanity, are disgusted with humanity, right? Because we do nothing about it. I'm a channel and I've been holding back from saying it, which has been making me sick and which has been holding back some of my charges, meaning the people who I'm responsible for sharing information from the gods and the Loa with. I've been holding it back because I know people don't want to hear it, don't want to do anything. I've been holding it back because I know people are going to think that it's me and try to, that it's my opinion only. And it's not my opinion only. It's the fucking truth. Gods and goddesses didn't go through shit, and your ancient ancestors didn't go through so much shit for you to sit around in a privileged lifetime and do nothing in a country that was supposed, in this country at least, that was supposed to be, you know, representing liberty and justice for all, freedom, and the American dream and prosperity and all this shit, for it to become a place of suffering, of sickness, of all this debt, and people do nothing about it. At least our ancestors had the balls to do something about it, okay? and you've forgotten how badass your ancestors were. There's a book out there called Badass Ancestors. You should read it and start working with your benevolent ancestors and getting to know your benevolent ancestors. This is why I tell you your spiritual strength comes when you first serve and get to know who you really are through working with your benevolent ancestors. All these gods and spirits are tired of fucking repeating themselves. How many signs do you need in a reading? Excuse my language. So, talking about my phone got full on storage, so I had to fix it real quick. But we're talking about Abraham. I'm going to read you from the book real quick because I think this is important. Known for his wisdom and his dedication to justice and truth in life and death, the once mortal Abraham is a judge of pandemonium. He can see through any falsity or subterfuge and determine the worthiness or unworthiness of those who come before his court. Although he arrived in the afterlife ragged, broken, and stripped of himself, that which was most real in himself persevered. His moral integrity, his dedication to justice and duty, his personal honor. Abraham shows us the truth of our temporal selves, what in us is worth keeping, balanced against what is unworthy of our future selves and best abandoned in the wastes. So with this reading that you have here, Anubis, Morgan Le Fay, Lilith, the leper king, Abraham, mother of dawn. I think it's pretty clear. I don't think that there's any room in this reading for misunderstanding. Some people like to take readings and then completely make the message something else that it wasn't. Or who take only a tiny part that they like and disregard the rest and think that that's going to help them enough. Or think that only a little bit of the message was relevant because they don't want to look at and do the rest of what the message is saying needs to be done. And that's why people stay stuck, stay suffering, because they don't want to do what's necessary. They don't want to be perceived like Abraham because they think that people that don't even matter aren't going to like them anymore. Because people are going to call them a bitch or call them an asshole because somebody like Abraham, somebody who has moral integrity, right? Somebody who has personal honor and commands respect, commands loyalty, and offers that in return, in exchange, right? They see that as somebody being unfair or being cold or being a bitch or being rude or being an asshole or jerk, whatever. Well, then they're not meant to be in your life. Somebody who doesn't respect that isn't worthy of you anyways. Why the fuck do you care? People, you're supposed to get to this point after doing all of this, right? This is to get you to this point. All of this is to get you to this point here, right? Where you're in this place where you have moral integrity, honor, and nothing can shake you. And that's your peace, because this place is your actual peace. Okay? And when you have peace, all the other things come easily, like love and prosperity. Somebody who stands for something, standing for themselves, standing for who they are, not just standing for something that, benefits the rest of society, the collective, etc. Standing up for yourself, standing in your truth is like the most important thing in life. And if you're not doing that, like, you're literally missing out on like the most important thing in life. Because then that means that you're not being authentic and not being real. You're not living life fully. You're living life partially. Somebody who's in this place can get anything that they want and not deal with the bullshit. They don't have to have anything taken from them anymore. They don't allow it. They only allow that which is beneficial, that which is fair in exchange of energy, And there's somebody who is willing to give to those who are worthy of receiving it and who they know need it and appreciate it. But they're not going to be played with anymore. It's not somebody who will be played with. When you get to this point, then everything becomes, and you still have compassion for those who do need it and who are worthy of it, right? When you get to that point, though, you can't be played with, and everything else, you can't be distracted. So then everything else that you want and need to focus on happens and comes with ease. Much more ease, man. Why don't you want to be here? Why do you want to still stay in these other levels where you're still working and still learning the same lesson over and over? Like, why do you want to be suffering? Why do you want to still be telling yourself you're not worthy and not appreciating life enough? Not living life fully? Why would you rather get everything in death rather than have it in life? Why would you rather deal with the struggle and the depression of your shadow or your inner child and the frustrations of yourself every day from what you haven't done that you've wanted to do, and constantly telling yourself you can't do it and pissing your other aspects of yourself off, creating psychic attacks on yourself, hexes on yourself? Why do you want to stay, or do you want to move? Why do you want to stay down here when you can move into positions where you are in your power more? You are no longer, you are unfuckwithable, right? You are taking matters in your own hands, actually doing something about stuff instead of just talking about stuff and dealing with the mental, emotional, physical, and financial struggles that happens when you do nothing, because you'll stay ruminating. If you do nothing, you stay ruminating when you could be handling your business, setting yourself free with your magic or your words, even your directness, your boundaries, setting yourself free to get to a place where you're unfuckwithable. I don't know. I don't know why anybody would want to continue to do that. Last card. Hathor, mistress of harmony, mediation, communication, culture. Hathor is also a goddess of love. But I love how they actually represent her as mistress of harmony. Okay, she's represented by a bull, which she wears the horns here. When you are in your highest self, in this reading, she represents what you can become when you are in alignment with your highest self. Yes, you can still possess the qualities of Abraham. Yes, you can still utilize your magic and get the divine justice that Morgan Le Fay is bringing and suggesting here. But all of that is so that you can reside here in alignment with your highest self, where everything has been mediated. Everything is clear communication. Your boundaries are clear. Everything is in harmony energetically within you and around you. Dis-ease, if you're dealing with physical illness, dis-ease is dis-ease within the body, disharmony within the energetic fields. That's how dis-ease starts. So if you're dealing with physical illness as well, this is the path that you need to go through. These are the steps you need to take to be able to get to a place, of harmony. It's said that Hathor could command any man or beast, right? Unless his heart was already belonged to another. Okay, she could command him to do whatever she wanted, unless his heart belonged to someone, or unless he was in love with someone else already. So she's great with love workings and domination workings, mental influential workings. But in this case, I feel her demonstrating that this is where your power could be massive influence. When you stand in your power, you could have massive influence, positive influence over others. Others who are worthy of your positive influence, of whatever skill, talent, information that's valuable that you possess, any passion, gift, talent, whatever you may have. I see you being able to be in harmony with yourself and with others and be a massive influence in your immediate reality, of the people that are in your immediate reality, those that are important to you, those that you work with. When you're in alignment, if you're in the wrong place, in the wrong workplace, to have the wrong people around you still, this isn't going to be you. Like the reading said, you need to take all those steps to judge who belongs around you and who doesn't, and take justice where it needs to happen, and deal with your shadow. Cut through all the bullshit, cut cords with people that don't belong in your reality anymore, who aren't worthy, right? All that needs to happen for you to get here, the center of the reading. This is for males and females, not just for females. How are you going to get into complete harmony and standing in your full power when you're still having inauthentic relationships, when you're just keeping beneficial relationships because you don't want to lose benefits? That's not authentic, and that's being judged, by the way, at the end of your life. If you're just hanging on to people because of what you can gain from them, and it's not mutually beneficial, it's not fair to them too, realize that that's judged. And that's where you'll be asked, like your heart will be weighed against a feather by this guy, as well as other judges on your judgment day. Like, you can't be benefiting from people, right, and not exerting energy in exchange to them in some way that is appreciative, that is grateful, that is doing something back for them, or wishing positivity and blessings upon them at the minimum. Now, you can't just be one of these people that's taking advantage of people out here and think that you're going to live a harmonious, blessed life for long. If you already are, if you continue to do that, you're going to see that dwindle away. That's just a warning she's saying. You're going to see that dwindle away. The more that you're inauthentic and unjust, it's an unjust type of relationship. It's injustice towards somebody else. It's an unfair exchange. It's a depletion of somebody else's life force for you to take advantage of what they have to offer without offering something in exchange. And in this world, that's either money, or that's other services or favors, or bartering with them, or doing a good deed for them, or wishing them at the very minimum. If you can't offer them something else, you do have a debt to somebody who's doing something for you, right? You have a debt. You're indebted to somebody who is doing something good for you, that is lifting you up in life. You, at the bare minimum, those are the people that, when they're doing it from the generosity of their heart, from their kind heart, those are the people that you need to make sure that you're wishing blessings and positivity on, okay? That you show appreciation to, okay? That you're authentic with. Otherwise, you will not have harmony in your life. You'll not be here. Master and commander of your own reality, as well as positive influencer and dominator of the others in your reality. You can shift, and by dominating, I mean not to take advantage of other people and get what you want. Again, that's not what I'm saying. She does that to people who, Hathor will do that in the cases where, she needs people to move a certain way because they're in their own way. They're not getting the message. So she dominates those who are good people, but she wants to help to do certain things that are for their highest good. And then she'll also dominate bad people to get them to not do such bad things, okay? When you are in harmony and you are possessing the qualities that Hathor has, the powers of Hathor, if you are allowed to get to that stage where you possess these qualities that she has, these powers that she has, because you've earned it and you've done the work required, only then And you'll still always be tested while you're in this stage. She and the other mysteries will always test you to see if you're still worthy of maintaining and possessing these powers, because you can always be demoted. Spirit can always demote you if you're not worthy. Keep that in mind. When you possess this, though, you have the opportunity to help people, to inspire people, okay, to shift people's energy so much by your influence. People see in you, see in themselves something that they see in you, and they realize, oh my God, I can do that because you're a mirror. I can do that too. I can do that too. You bring something that wasn't in the reality before into the reality. You show them something that wasn't available to them or shown to them before. And that's what we also do as channels, is show people what's possible. And as psychics, we show and discuss and present to you the paths that are open to you. When other people in your reality may have told you that's not possible, don't do that, that's not going to work out, blah, 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 and have brought you down, we show you what Spirit shows us is possible for you, your potentials. But it's up to you to take the action. It's up to you to believe and have faith. And Hathor is, again, the mistress of harmony and also the mistress of love. If something is out, if everything she's doing is out of love, you cannot go wrong. You really can't. But the moment, if you've gotten to this place of harmony in your life and you start operating from a place that is not out of the vibration of love, that's when you're going to start to see you fall from her grace, fall from this position, and have to go back through challenges, wherever they may be. Go back through tests again. Wherever you may have fumbled, okay? You'll be sent back to learn a lesson over before you can get back into this position. Everything that I say and do with these readings is out of love. It comes from a place of love. Although people frustrate the hell out of me, and I don't like being around a lot of people, I like being around select people who I know appreciate my energy and value what I have to share, and I only speak and interact with people in my personal and private life when I really have something that I know is of value to say, and that somebody is going to be going to receive it and appreciate it. Otherwise, I don't interact or exchange my energy with people who are just going to waste my time and who are not going to appreciate it and who are going to detract from my energy, because I spent too much time in my personal life allowing detraction. Okay, and that only made me sick and get into a state of dis-ease and disharmony. Okay, I've been working my way back up to here. I'm still not fully there yet. I am on my way. Okay, I am in these two areas. I am in these areas. Okay, and this stuff doesn't happen overnight. But how long it takes is up to you. You have to start taking action. And you'll be tested along the way. Every one of these cards is a stepping stone on a journey. It's not an overnight process. You're not going to snap your fingers or wish that you got here and that you just could have all this done overnight and while you're sleeping. That's not how this works. Action, real world actions are required. That is why you incarnated into this planet. That's why you are in a physical vessel that incarnated into planet Earth. This is a school. Here are some of your lessons for those watching this message today. Just like when you go to school, right? And you go to class and you have tests that you have to pass to get a good grade and move on to the next grade at the end of the year. It's the same thing in the spiritual lessons. You have to pass the test. You have to go to class and learn what you need to learn from that spirit or that situation, those people, that test. Pass your test by taking the actions that were required, by learning things you needed to learn, and actually not just learning them, applying them in your life, allowing what you've learned and incorporating it into your life so that you can enact positive changes in your life, transformations. Transformations don't just happen just because you heard information. Transformation happens when you apply knowledge and valuable information, and when you acquire and utilize skills. Not, why would you acquire skills to not use them in your life? Why would you learn something? Why would you take a course? Why would you go to a trade school? Why would you go to a job and learn something if you weren't going to use those skills to achieve something? There's no point, is there? And that's where a lot of you are dropping the ball, is you're acquiring information, you're learning, and you're just accumulating information, okay? But the whole point of this is to gain the most information. It's how much action are you going to take with that? How much initiative and action are you going to take with that knowledge, with that skill that you have learned from someone, somewhere in your journey, so that you can transform your life somehow into a better experience, into a more desirable experience for yourself. They're supposed to be a creator of your reality to a certain extent. All of us are meant to have our own little realities. There's a big reality we're all a collective part of, the collective reality, the collective experience that we can contribute to in smaller amounts as individuals caring about the collective. This is part of my contribution to the collective, is these messages, right? However, there's all these other things, all these many greater changes that you can make in your personal, private life, individual reality, with the immediate people around you and the immediate situations that you interact with and are a part of every day. So if you're not using what you know, what you've learned, and the skills you've acquired to make drastic changes in your life, in your individual reality, then what are you doing here? Again, back to the beginning where it's like, are you going to be a passerby, allowing other people are getting quote unquote ahead because they've learned the things and they're actually using them, taking action in their reality, because whether they consciously understand that they can create their reality and conjure things with this information in this sense that I'm explaining it to you, whether they realize it from a spiritual, magical perspective or not, they realize the fundamental of learn something that I need to learn in order to be able to get a certain result that I want. And in the middle, I have to do something with what I learned. I have to apply what I learned. Okay. That's the piece that most people are missing. Okay. Learn something, apply it in your life. Actually do something, take action with that which you've learned in order to get a certain result, a different result. Otherwise, I've talked about this before in a lot of videos. Otherwise, you're just doing the same thing every day over and over again. The definition of insanity, Albert Einstein. Expecting a different result. Okay? The same thing every day over and over, expecting a different result. That is the definition of insanity. You're never going to get a different result unless somebody else that is in your reality decides, because you're not deciding, they decide to choose to do something different that may affect your reality and change circumstances of your reality. They use their power and you're experiencing the change, but you're passively experiencing it. You could have far more experience of change and positivity to your liking if you chose to do something instead of waiting for everybody else. That goes back to the beginning of the reading. I think that's all. That's as many times as I think I can really repeat the message. Let's see, really quick, if there's anything that I wanted to share out of this in the book. I did not look at this one at all for Hathor. Goddess love, joy, dance. Hathor reminds us of the pleasures in life, and that they are more difficult to enjoy when there is outstanding problems between people. If you cannot serve as a mediator yourself, perhaps it's wise to seek one out. And like I said, you could do that with anybody who is a spiritual, worker that works in the light, a psychic and spiritual worker that works in the light to transform, or energy worker that works in the light to transmute and transform energy, and who works to positively affect change in your life and in the lives of others. So that is the guidance from the Baron and the spirits and deities here today. This was a really long message. This was a very powerful message. I don't think that I've had a message. I mean, I do readings for myself all the time, and I've never had one as stern as, neutrality vibe and stern. A Baron is a very neutral, very strict Loa, and the beings that came up in this reading have that same energy as him, very much, and somewhat a little bit even stronger. Some of them I get from Anubis and Abraham here. So I would seriously, save this reading, come back to it when you feel like if you feel like you fall off course again, if you feel like it was a long reading and you didn't quite get everything, take your time and come back and watch it little by little. Take notes. Like, these readings aren't just for my shits and giggles, and they're definitely not with the aim of growing my YouTube, because I really don't. If I focused on growing my YouTube as a goal, I wouldn't even bother posting these, because I don't like playing those games, those algorithm games. Like, this reading is for your benefit, like, more than it is mine. So do with it what you will, but you can't say that Spirit hasn't told you. If you've watched this reading, you can't say that Spirit hasn't called out your bullshit or identify for you what needs to be done and given you the steps, given you the tools, given you the blueprint to what needs to be done. It is very clear. Other than that, I don't know what else to say. It's up to you. I'm only the messenger. They can only do so much. They can only say things so much. That's why they're frustrated with humanity, because humans can hear this a million times from a million different people, a million different ways, and only a few, 1%, will choose to take action, choose to change, choose to elevate to, in their lifetime, in this current lifetime that they're seeing this. A lot of, most everybody else is going to wait until something bad happens to choose to change. In the moment that you see this, you're that type of person, that 1% that's going to choose to change. You're a rare breed, because 99 other percent will wait. They'll hear this, but they'll wait till something else bad happens enough to scare them, into doing something. They'll wait until more bad circumstances happen, until they're in an even worse position to take any action, because they don't learn. They learn very slow. And they learn because they need to see things to believe. Okay? Rather than the 1%, the very few who will see this and be like, I believe, and I'm going to do, and then I'll see the result. They get it. Like, there's something in you, if you're that 1%er, there's something in you that either has experienced this type of stuff in lifetimes before and already gets it, and you're a more mature soul than the other 99% who need to see to believe and learn the hard way. So kudos to your 1%ers. Let me know what resonates for you. Let me know if it doesn't resonate for you. I don't care. I'm just a messenger. It's the message. It is what it is. I'm not going to change it. They're not going to change it. You can either receive it or not receive it. I don't care. I'm not invested in what people do with the information as much as I'm invested in making sure I did my part. So I did my part. It's up to you to do your part. Gracias, Misericordia.